So this has an advantage of being a monopoly because, like I mentioned, that it has got a lot of investment that goes into it, and it tends to be highly profitable because a lot of clients would want to have this data, right? Because they need to know where they stand with respect to others in the application. There are many players, FFTG players, companies. So there are companies across the country which we want to look at the trends, region trends, as well as a countrywide trend. So it is a highly profitable study for the research company. However, there is a little bit of a disadvantage, I could say, because there are times clients have observed a certain kind of trend, but the study throws up something else which is not as per their understanding. So it goes through this criticism of whether it is robust, whether it is correct, and whether it is reliable, and so on and so forth. But by and large, there are incidents of where the clients don't believe in some of these data points, but by and large, it gives a good indication of what the market share is. So people continue to buy this data. So what kind of categories does the consumer panel cover? There are household care items like detergent, your Vim scoring powder, right? Toothpaste, toilet cleaner. So personal care items like shampoo, toilet soap, skin creams. Then food items like atta, rice, sugar, whichever is branded. We don't look at commodities. Whichever categories are branded, we look at those categories as well. And food and snack items, soft drinks, chips, biscuits, health drinks, and so on and so forth. So basically, any product that comes under the purview of the housewife. Under the purview of the housewife. Now, who is the housewife?
The housewife is the person who is in charge of the kitchen purchases for the household. Is it correct?
In charge of the kitchen purchases.
For the household. Who takes the decisions about the kitchen?
That's right, yeah.
Can be a lady, can be a guy.
Yes. So whoever decides what needs to be bought for the kitchen.
Yeah, it's called the housewife.
It need not be the person. So it can happen that the lady who buys pays from her own pocket. It can be that a lady buys from the money given by the husband. It can be the man of the household who buys it and who decides. So it can be any of these combos. So, but we must bear in mind it is the person who decides and not the person who gives money. Okay. So we'll go forward. So the operations of how this is done is as below. So we select a city or village, and then a panel of housewives is set up. So every panel member is given a diary. These days, the operations, again, like I mentioned, it could be different, right? The diary will have a provisions diary or whatever the housewife is given.
What is a diary? It's like we have a New Year diary or?
No. So this is a notebook kind of thing where you make a note of what brands you have bought, which pack size have you bought, when have you bought it. Okay. So you make a note as and when you buy it, the person who's in the panel, the housewife, so she writes down saying, okay, today I have gone and bought detergent, soap, and shampoo. They write down saying, okay, with today's date, this is what I bought, this brand, this SKU, that is this pack size. So I bought Synthol soap of 75 grams into 4 numbers. I bought Surf Excel of half a kilo with a pouch.
So, Professor, that's open in the result. I have to.
No. So that is fed in. So earlier, with this diary that I'm talking about, it was paper pencil. What people used to do is they used to have a big book. So there will be a long list. So you have to look for where Surf Excel is of 500 grams. You have to look for where synthol is of 75 grams, and you have to select that.
So it's a complete list.
It's a total complete list of whatever the set of brands that you have.
And who prepares that list?
This is done by the research company at the back end. So
It
before
takes
they
a long
launch,
time to prepare the
yes,
list.
it takes a long time to prepare. But once having done, they need to on a periodic basis just keep track of which are the new brands that come in the market, new pack sizes that come in the market.
Well, companies keep changing pack sizes.
Yes, they keep changing pack sizes.
Professor, I
So
have a question. Sometimes companies have offers also, no? They have a temporary pack for a.
yeah,
That
Yeah.
will also get captured here.
no, that won't get captured here.
Okay.
So those things. So what happens is, like I was mentioning
But for
earlier,
3 months, if they have a pack size.
3 months if they have a pack size, then it's okay.
Okay.
But see, at the time of starting the field work, if that pack size is there existing in the market, it can get captured. But if say for example the fieldwork is launched and midway into the fieldwork, sometime the brand has decided they'll have offers.
But they've been going on for years.
It has been going on for years. So let's say every month or every quarter,
Okay.
that way.
Okay, that
So
round.
that round, yeah. And that campaign or the offer which the brand is running is going to run for a short while. So let's say they have got this only for a Diwali or a New Year or a Pongal or some such thing like that, and it's going to be running for a short while. It may not get captured.
Unless it is specifically informed beforehand.
Yes,
maybe.
yes. If it is specifically informed beforehand, it would get captured. But unless they do that, it won't be getting
Okay.
captured.
So every pack, every brand which is in the market will get covered in the diary.
Yes,
The consumer only has to search and fill up
yes, yes, yes,
whatever they have bought.
yes, yes.
Okay.
So earlier, like I mentioned, there was a paper and pencil. Today, maybe there is an app which where they can just type in saying this is what I have bought, and it will automatically start populating, and you can select whichever is what your choice is. But yeah, but the point is that it is pre-filled.
Okay.
You're not going to enter text then, and
It is not open.
it's not open it.
Okay.
Right. So every panel member is given a diary, and the diary will have provisions for writing down date, product category, brand, pack size, pack type, and so forth. Right. So, like I mentioned, let's say on 30th of March, I bought such and such a product, 4 numbers of this product, that product, and so on and so forth. Okay. And it has got pre-coded options for all the above fields. Okay. Along with the diary, the panel member is given something we call as a bin.
Bin.
Bin. Does bin?
Bin. No.
Yeah, bin. Now what happens is the panel member has to, after buying the product and after emptying the contents, or starting, if they are going to use it, start using it, the person has to take it off, and instead of throwing it in the dustbin, has to put it in the bin provided by the research company. Why this is done is because at the end of the month, at the end of the round, the person comes and the research person, the field person comes from the research company and picks up the bin and picks up the entries in the diary, and they go back and try and tally these two. We just don't go by what they have claimed in the diary. It can happen that they have forgotten one occasion. So for that period, we look at the bin, look at the entries, and then see if they both tally. If they don't tally, go with what the bin data says. Okay. And then it goes into analysis, right? So the data from each panel member is aggregated, and the reports are generated at an all India level, at a zonal level, north, south, east, west, at the state level, at the town class level, and even village class level. right? And it is done based on SEC and age also. So
your sample represents all the socio-economic class and different age groups.
yes, yes.
And from the sample, we project to the population.
We project to the population.
How does that work? Can you give us a simple example of that?
Yes, I
Maybe
can.
you can work out an example because we have never done that before.
Sure, I actually thought you would cover it part of your analysis.
I have not yet talked about analysis at all. That's
Yeah,
for
so
week 12.
we can do that
In week
along
12.
with the
In
analysis,
week
right?
12, sure.
Yeah, in week 12. Yes. So for now, conceptually, what happens is it is projected from the sample data to the population data.
Projection is the same as extrapolation, right?
Extrapolation, that's it.
it.
Yes. So the sampling procedure is this. First is to select the towns or villages, and so there is a town or village, and then a set of towns or villages become go in a state, and from a few states it goes into zone. From zone it goes to the country, all India level. Okay, so within each town or village, excuse me, there are multiple localities that we identify. Right. So again here we would be breaking them up based on SEC. So let's take Chennai for example. There are different parts in Chennai, and so there are pockets in Chennai where SEC A is populated. There are pockets in Chennai, there will be so let's say A or B, some pockets. There are some pockets where there is C, there are some pockets where there are D and D. Right? So we identify these localities and look for people in that. Right? And we have quotas, interlocking quotas. So when I say interlocking quotas, what I mean is, let's say you need SEC A, B, C, D, E, and let's say you need 20 to 25 as an age group, 26 to 30, and so on and so forth, up to 46 to 50, or 55 to 56 to 60. Okay, so we would have quotas of how many we need in each of these cells. So it's SEC A 20 to 25 age group is one cell. SEC A 26 to 30 is another cell, so on and so forth. So there are quotas of age into SEC. So this is how we ensure that.
Cell that we learned in sampling. Right?
This is the same cell you
when
learned.
we said N equal to 30.
Yes.
Same principle. So this SEC, this age group,
yes,
together form one cell.
Yes.
Within the city.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, again here we're talking about the cell. Data is projected as each member represents a cell defined by SEC into age. So SEC A into 25 to 34 age group. Let's take for example. So the city will have a quota for the number of panel members in each cell, like we saw in the earlier table. So every member would be projected to his or her own cell. From each cell, it would be projected to the town or village, the population. From each town to the town or village class in that state. Then village class, town or village class to the state. And then from the state to the zone to the country. Okay. So you would get very different levels of the same data. So you can look at, you can break it down to the smallest variable, which is the town or village, and you can look at the country-wide data as well. So yeah, the data sold is to it is sold to whoever who's interested. Typically, no, the large FMCG companies like Unilever, P&G, Colgate, why? Because they are into consumer brands day in day out. They need data like this for them to keep track of where they are, where their competitors are, and where they need to focus on, and so on and so forth. And the data is provided to the client on a easy to use software. So the software is installed. Once the client subscribes to the data, the software is installed in the client's systems. And there's probably one or two people who look at this data, analyze the data, and internally circulate in the client's organization. So the software is custom made, custom developed, designed so that brand managers can use it the way they look at data. So what kind of problems can occur in a consumer panel data? Panel members may not record properly, like we earlier discussed, where if they are in a hurry, they may not write down in the diary, or they may not record in the whatever diary that we have given, in which case the bin is used as a backup. Some panel members may not be at home. These are operational challenges mainly, but these are still big challenges because it is a lot of time and effort which goes into collection of this data of such an importance. So when the field person goes to meet the respondent, they may not be at home. They might be traveling. Right? Such things happen. So in which case they may need to come back later. There may be some sampling errors, which is inevitable in any research study, not just this. New brands or pack sizes in the market which come don't get immediately captured. So today, at least, things can happen real time because there are apps, things are changed on the fly. But earlier with the diary system, physical paper and pencil system, it was a little bit more difficult. Right. And finally, there could be data entry errors. There could be manual errors in punching, in coding, and such things. Human errors, basically. So with this, we come to the end of consumer panel. Any questions at this point in time? Shall we go forward to the next topic?
So I have one question for this one. So the person is a panel member is come there by choice.
Yes.
And they can leave whenever they want to.
Yes, they can.
Right? There is no compulsion that they should always be there.
No.
So every month, it is the same panel member who fills up the diary.
Who fills up, yeah. I'm sorry.
Okay. So a panel member
periodically the research company also does a refreshment of the panel because they don't want the same set of people to be.
Okay. So they replace some people.
They replace some people.
Okay. I heard somewhere that they don't replace everyone at the same time.
Not everyone at the same. No,
okay.
Yeah, not
some
everyone.
Kind of,
Yeah. In a phased manner, they do.
Okay. And is this method that we follow in India similar to what we do in more advanced countries like US? Is India trailing behind them, or are we on par with?
No, I think we are on par with them.
Okay. So,
see, in Indian market research industry has been for a long time has been a developed industry. It's not had it's okay. We are learning our lessons. We don't know how to go about this. So it's been a well-established industry for at least about 30 years, 25 to 30 years. So there are protocols in place, processes in place. So shall we go forward? Shall we do the next topic?
yes. Thank you.
Okay. The next one is retail audit. This is run by a company called AC Nielsen in India. Again, this has got urban and rural coverage, and the kind of information that this study throws up is again market share information, brand growth, regional variations, share of pack sizes, right? Offtake of promotional offers. So here you would the difference as compared to consumer panel data is that you can get details of if there has been a buy one get one free, buy three get 50%, 30% off, or whatever. Those kind of offers, the offtake for those offers get captured here. So you know which offers work, which discount offers work, which exchange or whatever, right? Those kind of offers work. The difference is that in a consumer panel, you would get profiling data. You would know who is the person who has actually bought your brand versus someone who has bought some other brand. Here you would not have that information. The reason is this is data collected from the retail outlet. Okay, so the retail outlet wouldn't know what is the demographic detail of the consumer, and this is an audit. That is data collected through a diary. The consumer actually writes down, and I mean that's not an audit in the sense that you don't go and periodically check what they have done. The consumer willingly agrees to be on the panel and gives us the information. Here again, the retailer willingly agrees to be on the panel and allows the research company to go and measure whatever that we need to, right? So with respect to counting of stock and looking at the pack, how many pack sizes. So mainly what happens here is the data collection is counting of stock across SKUs, across brands, right? So that's what really happens with retail audit. Here too, it has an advantage of being a monopoly, since there is again a heavy entry barrier for competition, and since it is again category where companies would want data about SKUs, pack sizes, and so on and so forth. It is highly profitable. Here too, the same bit of criticism is applicable, because there are times when the data from the research company is different from the data observed by people in the brand who are working in a company in the brand. So that is possible. So yeah, so that's that. We'll go forward and look at again the categories that retail audit covers are similar. Again, household care items, personal care items, food and snack items, and also some hardware items like sanitary ware. So basically anything that is sold at a general store or a supermarket, right? So the retail outlets are broken down as petty shops, grocers, departmental stores, self-service shops, modern trade formats. So the data is collected across all of them with quotas spelled out for each of these kind of outlets for us to again be able to project to the population at large. Now here, as compared to consumer panel data, where we look at the census data, where we look at the data of consumers, the population. Here we would look at the universe of number of stores present in that particular category. So in a city, how many grocers are there in a city, how many supermarkets are there, how many self-service shops are there, modern trade outlets are there. So that's how the projection happens. So before we start the study, a census of retail outlets is carried out in the selected towns and villages, and the towns are classified, the outlets are classified as petty shops, grocery shops or kirana shops, departmental stores and supermarkets, and so on and so forth. And a sample of outlets, we request them saying, can you be on our panel, and can we on a monthly basis come to your shop and count the stock? Will you allow our person to come and do this work? So every month the field executive goes there and starts counting the stock of all the product categories that we have. So I don't know if you all know what an SKU means. In SKUs, the word SKU stands for, the acronym SKU stands for stock. fee paying unit. Okay. So let's say you buy hammam soap. Okay. Now, hammam soap is available in a small pack of 10 rupees. Small pack where you may have seen it in some hotels and that kind of places. It is available in say 75 grams. It's a 75 gram cake, 100 gram cake, right? As a 125 gram cake. Excuse me. So each of these packs is an SKU. So when a shop stocks hammam 75 grams into at the face of it 10 units, it is one SKU. Okay. Now also often happens that especially in soap there are packs of 4 or packs of 5 which you buy for 10 at a discount of 10 rupees or so on and so forth. That is considered to be a separate SKU. It is a pack of 4 75 grams, right? 4 into 75 as one pack is considered to be a separate SKU. So every unique pack with respect to either product as a combination of product volume and the pack type, right? For example, there is cooking oil. Cooking oil comes in half a liter, 1 liter, and a 5 liter pack. Half a liter normally comes in a pouch. 1 liter can come as a bottle or can come as a pouch. 5 liter can again 5 liter again is only, it comes only in a big jar. Right? So this 1 liter, which is one is a pouch and another is a PET bottle. Those two are considered to be different SKUs. So it is a combination of volume and pack type. Okay. So yeah. So for each SKU of each brand, each product category, the field executive counts the number of items and he goes the next month again, he comes and does the same thing, right? How is the sale calculated from the outlet? So you go to this outlet, you count everything. So we count the opening stock, minus closing stock plus the stock bought. So what the field executive has, let's say, gone this month, and you're going to do this for the calculation for last month. So what they've gone at the beginning of this month and what they got in the previous month beginning, you do a difference of this minus that, and you ask them for how much stock have they bought. You ask the shopkeeper how much stock of each of these SKUs have they bought in the interim period of 1 month. So that's how you get the numbers, the sales. Okay. Sampling is similar to what we saw for consumer panel. Actual stores are selected from the census list, and we set a quota saying we want so many petty shops, so many kirana shops, so many supermarkets, and so forth. Okay. The analysis reporting is also similar to what we saw in the consumer panel with respect to the projection from the smallest variable to the countrywide projection. Okay, so this is one question. I think I have given the answer for this question. So if you were a client and you have the budget only for consumer panel or retail audit, you can't buy both. Which should you buy? Consumer panel. Yeah, because consumer panel gives you an extra layer of information with respect to which profile of consumers are actually buying your product, which can help you in more, better targeting at who your consumers are. So I'm going forward to the next topic, which is television audience measurement. This is run by a company called TAM. Now it is run by BARC.
Something called VARC, right?
VARC. Broadcasting Audience Research. I don't know, I'm not sure about Research Council, I think. I'm not sure about it, but you can go and look at VARC website and it gives you some details about how they do this. It's done on a periodic basis.
So, Professor, they talk about something called TRP.
Yes.
Will you tell us what that is?
Yes.
And something called impressions.
Yes. So, this gives us the information on the number of people who watch any given time slot in a TV channel. TAM is only for TV. Okay. So, any channel on TV, right? It can be regional, it can be English, it can be movies, it can be comedy, it can be songs, anything. So the time slot is defined as narrow as 10 seconds. So we can actually measure when a person has actually switched from one channel to the other. Right? And we can also see whether, so this is both for the content that gets played on TV as well as for the ads. So if, say for example, there is Star Movies, HBO, right? And I mean those have movies. There are general entertainment channels. Let's take the regional channels here: Sony, Setmax, and there is Vijay TV in the south, right? So which have got different kind of content, right? It's not just only serials, it's not just only movies. They've got some comedy shows, they've got some live shows, they've got some movies, they've got some songs, they've got some cookery shows, all of them. So we would actually know which of these shows have got what kind of viewership. We would also know which ads have actually got viewed by people. So this thing about prime time, non-prime time, all that comes from this data. Prime time is when a bulk of people are watching the channel, right? Watching TV. So typically prime time is for a TV channel would be between 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. Those people come back from work, wherever they are, and they're watching TV. So this data, based on this data, is when is why how all these TV channels come up with their plans of how to price their space with respect to advertising, right? How to come up with different kinds of programming for different kinds of audiences. So all that they use data from here for them to give indication of how is the market behaving. So this again works through a panel, and everything is similar with respect to sampling, with respect to reporting, analysis, right? It's all similar to consumer panel. The base is the same, right? With respect to sampling, with respect to how it is projected, how it is seen. Right? The metrics are different from one and the other because we were looking at market share. Here we would be looking at the viewership. Right? This is one of the few large studies in India that uses modern technology to capture data. There is something called a people meter. Right? I'm sorry, one second. So each panel household, this is not a member, every household is a panel member. So let's say there is a household of 3 people, father, mother and daughter, and they're given a people meter. They all watch TV. So when they are watching TV, each of them is given a button in the remote. A separate remote is given to them, the panel household. So when the father watches, we would say, please press this button. There will be 1, 2, 3 buttons. So for the father it would be button number 1, for the mother it would be number 2, for the daughter it would be number 3. So as and when a person comes to watch the TV, they click on that button on the remote and they start watching. So, and beforehand,
No.
and before they give this, they allocate this to the panel household, they would define saying there are 3 people. These are the demographic details of these 3 people. So father, aged so and so, male, working, and whatever other details. Mother, aged so and so, female, working, not working, and then daughter, aged so and so, female, working, not working, student, whatever it is. So all this is predefined. So in the back end, this is pre-filled. So as and when they are watching, they keep changing. All this is captured. So there will be times when father and mother probably say, okay, I'm going to go to bed. You watch something. So maybe the daughter watches cartoon, maybe the daughter watches movies, right? So it captures the time slots, the amount of time that the person spends, as well as the content that the person consumes. Previously, during some classes, people have asked, isn't it too personal information to capture these things? Well, a panel has been asked beforehand, has been told beforehand that this is how the data is going to be used, right? And it's not that they're going to go and publish this outside. This data is used for is used at a consolidated level for the channel to use for its programming. So nobody is going to and the data remains with the research company which is running this, right? So if you want to walk out of it, you can. So the panel member actually is walking in with the eyes open, saying that this is how they are going to track how I am watching TV. So yeah. So the data is in an earlier era was saved in a disk and couriered to the central office. Today things would be done on the cloud. That is the difference between what it used to be then and now. Yeah. So there is one disadvantage, one criticism that this study comes across, which is the amount of media money that is spent on TV using this data. So there are arguments that whether it is a robust enough sample, representative enough sample, how can you just take decisions like that? The people meter is high cost, high investment physical device, right? So you can't have it's not as easy to scale up as compared to even doing a consumer panel or a retail audit, right? Because there need to be those instruments, physical instruments, which are an investment into how this is done. So the buyers of TAM are typically TV channels. There are media planning arms of ad agencies. So what they do is they advise clients on which channel to advertise in, which time slots to advertise in, when which time slots get higher viewerships, and so on and so forth. So media planning arms and large advertisers as well, companies which keep advertising on a periodic basis, them as well. So I'm moving on to the next topic. Any questions before that?
What is a TRP, Professor?
Okay.
And what's an impression?
Sorry.
I've heard terms like TRP, GRP. Impressions, something called reach.
Yes. So TRP stands for television rating points. GRP stands for gross rating points. So TRP is the number of people who watch a particular time slot. Okay, so it is shown as a percentage of people. So if say something has got a channel, if for example a program has got a TRP of 200, no sorry, a TRP of 20, it means 20% of the target audience watches that particular program.
20% of the audience.
Of the audience.
Oh, 20 TRP means 20%.
Yes.
1 TRP means 1%.
1 TRP is 1%.
That's all.
Yeah. So 1 point is 1%.
Okay. So when I've seen some newspaper articles which says that so-and-so serial had 1.9 TRPs. That means 1.9%.
1.9% has watched.
The score is considered as good.
In the sense, what percentage is considered to be good? See, there aren't any benchmarks as such. It is relative, right? So there is a program today which has got 20 TRP. There would have been a program earlier which was only 5 TRP. So there isn't any absolute benchmarks of which is good, which is bad. It is very relative to what others are in the market. Okay, gross rating point is a cumulative TRP for a set of for a time. This
For
also,
a set of programs, is it?
Sorry?
For a set of programs?
Yes, for a set of programs.
Okay. Gross, as in add, simply add.
Add, you just add.
So am I correct if I say
It could
that,
be for a set of programs, it could be for a set of time slots, it could be for 1 week of that program. So you can say there's a new serial that has come and you look at the GRP over 1 week. So you just add that becomes the overall. So totally so many people have watched it.
So one program has 2 TRPs, other has 5 TRPs. Then total is 7 TRPs.
Yes.
Or I should say 7 GRPs.
7 GRP.
That's all.
Yes. Okay. And impressions are how many times a person can watch. That is the impression.
It is per person or it is total across people?
It is total across people.
So, okay. I read an article which said impressions is a measure of after the ad campaign has been aired. It's a measure of how many times the ad campaign has been seen by human beings. So, if the ad was, if the first time the ad came, if it was seen by 10,000 people, it seems it is 10,000 impressions. And then the second time the ad came, it was seen by 6,000 people. That is 6,000 impressions. And the total is 16,000 impressions. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's correct.
So it is similar to TRP. The same thing expressed as percentage would be TRP.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah. This is a number that is in percentage. That's right.
Okay. But here they talk about ad, whereas
TRP is about to applies to
programs. That is already.
Yeah.
But it's all mathematics is interconvertible.
Yes, it's the same. Yeah. You don't use impressions for programs. Generally, don't use TRP for ads, but because here impressions are based on one ad for an ad campaign. The content is the same. TRP, the content may be different.
Okay.
Shall we go forward? So the next one is radio audience measurement. Similar to TAM, but it's made for radio. It's run by the same company. There's no technology as of now. It is every panel member is given a diary and asked to fill every 15 minutes slot of radio that they visit to. So, a person is given a diary, that person writes on the diary. Last 15 minutes I listen to Radio City, Radio Mirchi, this details. So, there is a little bit of criticism that we are relying heavily on the respondent's memory, which could be hazy, which could be misplaced with respect to which channel that they are listening to, and it's not. It could probably mislead about which station they are listening to. And there are times when people forget to fill up a panel diary, so their compliance is not 100%. But there is no other option today, and since radio is not a big medium for the large advertisers. Radio is still a medium; it is used as a reminder medium, but it is not that expensive as compared to a TV. So they just let it go, saying find some data, so let's live with it.
So it is simply people filling up a diary.
Just filling up a diary, yeah. So I listen.
So if you fill up wrongly,
the last 15, you will not be able to find out.
Oh.
But the way people are listening to radio itself is changing. There is a lot of internet radio over the internet and all that. So maybe in the next few years, if the trend of how they consume the medium changes, possibly this could also change.
Also, people are telling me that radio is losing interest. People are not listening to radio so much nowadays. Is that correct?
See, in a way, probably that is true, but it is also true that today people are listening to, there are apps, all these radio channels have got apps, and they are listening, people are listening, people who want to listen to radio are still listening to it. So there are both points of view that
But according to you, the data is not saying that people have lost.
No, I don't think so. Excuse me. And there is still a committed radio listening audience which likes to listen to it.
Okay.
So shall we move forward to the next study? This is an assignment. Maybe you all can do it this week as part of your practice assignment, right? One is generate a sampling plan for TAM in Tamil Nadu. Second one is generate a hypothetical report based on RAM data for Tamil Nadu. Okay, second one you can skip maybe because I've not taken you through how the data is captured, what variables are there. But maybe sampling plan for TAM in Tamil Nadu is something that you can do. And report for a brand of biscuits for Chennai branded biscuits for Chennai based on the consumer panel. So you know what the variables are in consumer panel, right? With respect to market share and SKU related data and so on and so forth. Maybe these two can be done, 1 and 3. Okay, I'll move forward. So we are going to look at readership surveys. There were two, IRS and NRS. Indian Readership Survey. NRS is no longer in existence. So IRS is Indian Readership Survey. So only one key measure here, which is average issue readership. So every newspaper is a daily, right? It comes every day. So every day is one issue. Okay. So the way we measure average issue readership is how many people have seen the issue of the previous 24 hours. So let's say there is a Hindu or a Times of India. We show the masthead and ask them, have you read an issue of this paper in the last 24 hours?
Today's paper.
Today's paper.
Have you read today's paper?
Yes.
Okay. Not any issue, right?
No. That issue. That's specific today's issue. Not any issue. You can't say any time in the past 1 year, 5 years. No. Today's issue, have you read?
Okay. If I have read yesterday's issue today morning?
Yeah, that is also fine. In the last 24 hours is the key.
Okay.
So you could have read yesterday's issue this morning, you could have read today's issue this morning, you could have read even 2 days ago, last week's issue this morning.
Okay.
That is.
But if I read in the past 24 hours, it is counted.
Yes.
Okay.
So if you have read, say, Hindu's yesterday's issue this morning, Times of India's last week's issue this morning, Indian Express today's issue this morning, you would count for all the three. In the last 24 hours, you read all the three papers.
Okay.
So this is for dailies. For magazines, depending on the periodicity of the magazine, whether it is a weekly or a fortnightly or a monthly magazine, we would ask that respective periodicity. Have you read an issue of this particular magazine in the last 1 week, or in the last 2 weeks, or in the last 1 month, depending on what the periodicity is. The sampling procedure is similar to what we had earlier seen, so we don't need to repeat it here.
So for monthly magazine, we will ask, have you read an issue of the magazine in the past 30 days or
yes.
past 1 month?
Yes.
Not past 24 hours?
No.
Okay. It's called average issue readership.
Average issue readership.
This is readership. What is circulation?
Circulation is the number of copies that the publication sells.
So how do they get it from the sales department?
They get it from, there is an audit bureau of circulation. Okay. Something called ABC.
Okay.
Right? The circulation department would also know that, but audit bureau of circulation audits the actual number of copies that are being sold by each of these publication houses.
Okay. So readership is not same as circulation.
Readership is not the same as circulation. Readership normally that we have seen is about 8 to 10 times of 4 to 5 times of what the circulation is.
I don't understand. Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
The readership is normally 4 to 5 times of what the circulation number is. Because for every copy, so many people would read. So in a household, we may buy only one copy of the newspaper or magazine, but 3-4 people would read it.
Okay.
So readership is the number of people who have read that issue. Circulation is the number of copies of that issue that is being sold.
So by and large, the number of readers per copy maybe 4 or 5.
Maybe 4 or 5, yeah.
Okay.
The difference between the panel studies that we saw earlier on the one hand and the readership survey on the other is that there is no panel here. You don't empanel people saying on a regular basis you have to maintain this, you have to keep track of this. I'll come and keep in touch with you, get your data and all that. So this is done as a one-off survey. And the sample keeps changing. It is not the same sample which which is being reported on every month. Okay. The sample sizes here are huge, around 2 lakh, and this runs throughout the year, quarter on quarter, right? And we look at trends over a period so that we don't. There would be some periodical trends where in November some dailies would have got better readership as compared to someone else, or during the new year some dailies would have got better readership. So there may be periodical blips up and downs. So to ensure that we don't look at this, if it doesn't look too up and down, we make sure we smoothen the process of smoothen the data so that it doesn't show too much of an obvious blip. So apart from average issue readership, we also measure, of course, by asking the respondent their frequency of reading a particular publication, and also about a whole lot of profiling information about whether they are working, whether they commute, when do they read the paper, right? What kind of sections do they read, and so on and so forth. An important use of this data is that it provides the base for all of the research surveys, because the sample size here is very large, right? It is treated as similar to, see, only the thing is that the government census gives us only the population, gives us age group wise. It gives number of children, number of adults, right? It gives a number of people, and working, not working, that's all, right? Over here, it gives much more in detail with respect to whether they work, what kind of work, which SCC do they belong to, which age group do they belong to, right? So you have much more of a reliable data with respect to some demographics as compared to your census data. So yeah, so we use IRS data as a basis for projection for other surveys as well. And here again, the buyers here would be large publication houses, which are the media dailies and magazines and all that, large advertisers, and media planning arms of ad agencies, because they advise clients as to where to place the ad. I'm moving on to the next topic. Any questions?
No, very clear.
Okay. So the next is prescription audit. It's the final one. So this basically helps the pharma industry to know the how the brands of different formulations work. Right. So for example, paracetamol is sold as Crocin, is sold as Dolo, is sold as Calpol. Right.
They're all the same.
They're all the same. The formulation is the same.
The ingredient is the same.
The ingredient is the same.
Okay.
So we know that.
So Crocin is a brand name, is it?
Crocin is a brand name. Dolo is a brand name.
But the product is the same.
Product is the same.
So there's no difference.
No difference.
Okay. Then why do some people prefer Dolo, some people prefer Crocin?
I mean, as consumers, there are people who say, no, I always have Crocin, I always have Dolo. I think that could just be a matter of habit of having it.
So any other brand preference?
Yes.
Even doctors may sometimes prescribe, same is the case for other kinds of medicines as well.
Yes.
So even when doctors will prescribe one brand or some other brand.
Yes.
Based on that.
So see, what happens is sometimes, very often I have come across that for my father, the doctor would have prescribed a certain medicine. You go and ask the chemist, he says, no, this is not available, but something else is available. Name is different, but the formulation is the same. So it happens that, the The medicine's formulation is the same, but it's just a name, brand name.
How do doctors form this preference? Is it because one brand is treating patients better?
No, not like that. It's just that the relationship between the doctor and the medical rep who comes and says, "Why don't you start prescribing?" Medical rep is a person similar to a salesperson in a FMCG company. Medical representative represents a pharma company, and they meet doctors and tell them, keep them posted on what kind of new products, new formulations have come, or new brands that have come, and they tell the doctors that this is what it is. Why don't you start prescribing this, which is from our company? And therefore the doctor does that. So it's up to the doctor to decide whether to listen to what the medical rep is offering or not. But it's not bribing, not at all. It's a very, very ethical form of. They're just doing business development. I mean, business developments again now looks like they're trying to push something. No, they don't do it. It's an ethical form of telling the doctors this is what the pharma company has come up with. So you can use what we have to offer to your patients through this brand name. So that's really what happens, right? So it is run by setting up again here it's panel based. There's a panel of doctors across specialties, and we give them a special prescription pad without taking the patient's detail. It only takes the kind of medicines that the doctor prescribes. So at the end of this every period, we collate this and see what kind of formulations for each formulation, which brands are being prescribed by doctors. Simple audit study of what is being prescribed by what kind of doctors. Okay. So this is run in AC Nielsen, run in India by AC Nielsen and CMark. So this is the end of study. So simple study. I think this is fairly straightforward with respect to how the data is collected and how the data is analyzed. Okay. Sorry, I think you were asking about spending.
I was asking about spending. I mean, I have spent, let's say, 1 crore for my brand advertising. I don't know whether that's a realistic amount or not. Let's say I'm Samsung. I want to know whether they're spending more or less than me, or I want to know whether they're spending in different newspapers compared to me, or I want to take larger size advertisements compared to me.
So this there's something called press audit which captures that.
Okay.
There is no primary research here. In the sense, we don't go and ask respondents.
So that is what, there is no such.
It's just a simple audit of which brands have spent on newspaper. So this is press audit. So likewise, there will be something for TV, radio, and so forth. Right?
Okay.
So this just involves going through every issue of every newspaper and magazine and counting how many ads that they have given, and the details of the ads with respect to the size and column centimeters. You know what column centimeters is, right?
No.
So in a newspaper, so if you had seen a physical copy of a newspaper, there will be columns of article. I mean, within an article there will be different columns. So each column into the length of how many centimeters it is. So that's how area gets defined in a newspaper.
That is what. I have heard of column inches.
Column inches, is it?
Yeah. I suppose that must have been before
centimeters
became a popular.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, so the number of columns.
Number of columns, yeah.
So if an advertisement, it is number of columns. If 3 columns means that much wider than 2 columns.
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
And the full length. Okay. So what is the size of the ad? Which brand name, which brand is it for? Which category does it belong to? FMCG, BFSI, consumer durables and so on and so forth.
If I get you newspaper, can you show me how a column will look?
Sure.
I'm
Do
getting
we have a newspaper here?
I maybe have it, but just a minute.
Yeah, sure.
Please continue,
Yeah.
Professor.
So, I'll continue with this when you're getting the newspaper. So, there is size, there is brand name, there is category for which the advertising is done, and whether it is a brand ad or a promotional ad. So, there are broadly two different kinds of ads. There are brand ads, there are tactical or promotional ads. The difference is that brand ad talks about the brand. It talks only about what the brand stands
This
for.
is an
What
old
the
newspaper.
brand.
Is it old?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I can see columns
so.
here.
Yeah, I don't know if it's visible here. There's a business standard, I think. Business newspaper. So this is one column.
You may have to lift it a little.
So this is one column. This is one column. This is the second column. This is the third column, and so on. So if an ad is using up this space, it would be 3 columns into the amount of length space that it occupies. Okay.
Thank you.
So likewise, actually, does that paper have masthead? I may want to show them what a masthead is. I don't think this is a full paper, no? Yeah, never mind. The masthead is when you get the newspaper, you see the brand, right? The Hindu, the Times of India, the Indian Express, and it has got some symbol, some logo kind of thing. That one full top line is called a masthead. So when we ask for the purpose of IRS, when we show the masthead, it would be that full, yeah. So this is Times of India. I don't know if it is visible. The one on top here, this is the masthead. So we show this and
this portion, right?
yes.
Oh.
Yeah. This portion.
It's like a logo.
Like a logo, yeah. Excuse me. So we were talking about whether it is a brand ad or a promotional ad. A brand ad is not trying to sell. It is just trying to convey what the brand is, right? So as compared to a promotional ad where you would have buy one get one, promotional offer, whatever it is. So a brand ad tries to communicate about the brand. A promotional ad tries to, the objective is to get the consumer to try the brand immediately. Right? A brand ad tries to do that over a period of time. It basically, the objective of a brand ad is to make sure that the consumers are positively disposed towards a brand. They form a good opinion about the brand. They are able to relate the same kind of associations for a brand as targeted as the brand sets out to be. Whereas a promotional ad is more tactical, more sales oriented. So it is meant to make people come and ask for the brand and try it. And therefore, this provides crucial information to advertisers, press audit, on the confirmation that the ads that they have paid for has indeed appeared, and the share of advertising compared to competition. So, Hammam soap can see how much Synthol has spent, can see how much Dove has spent. A shampoo brand can look at what their competitors have spent, and so on and so forth. Right. So with this, we come to the end of this chapter. Any doubts?
I have no questions. It's all clear.
Okay. Thanks a lot. See you all. Good night.